our first session of the day is with Brittany Welk, Jack Thomas, and Coby van den Ende. Katie Daniel sends her apologies. She can't make it, but we have a great session here. It's all about reopening your gym safely and securely. Let's kick off. We've got Australia covered, we've got Southeast Asia covered, and we've got the US covered. So this is going to be a lot of nuggets from all around the world and different experiences. So let's kick off. If you guys would like to say hello and introduce yourselves, we'll start with Brittany.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brittany Welk. I am a performance consultant at Loud Rumor and also the co-founder of LadyStrong Fitness. We are in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, here in the U.S. Been running LadyStrong for about 4 years now with my business partner, Marcia. We have about 240 active members right now in our studio. We are an all-women's fitness studio, so that makes us very unique. We cater mainly to women. So I've been in the fitness industry, not as long as some of you guys, for about 7 years now. Got my start as a client loving group fitness and just kind of grew into the entrepreneurial side of it. So happy to be here.
Yeah, and great to talk to you again, Brittany. So this is Coby. This is the first time I've spoken to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hey guys, Coby from Queensland, Gold Coast in Australia. Awesome. Welcome along to everyone that's tuning in tonight. We have a fitness facility here in it's called Burleigh Heads. We have all both male and female, and then a big fit kids component that we call it. So we're almost about 50-50 in terms of maybe around 100 or 80 to 100 fit kids, and adults is just blowing up this week. So it's been interesting times, but we just had our biggest day ever today, so it's been exciting in terms of booking. So it's different times.
Yeah. And Jack, welcome back. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself. I think we've lost some audio. This is our first technical glitch of the day, so maybe...
How about that?
Yeah, we got you.
Good stuff. Yeah, good to see you, Kevin, mate. Hope you're doing well over in Ireland. My name is Jack Thomas. I'm the founder and CEO of Base. We have 3 studios in central Bangkok. And the other hat that I wear is as the host of the Fitness Business Asia podcast. So that speaks to fitness business owners, coaches, investors, fitness managers, and the like in the Asia region. But we do have listeners elsewhere. We touch on many topics that would be helpful for anyone really in the fitness industry anywhere. We are in a good place in Thailand now. We've had 60 odd days with no COVID cases. We have been open for about 2 months and trying to work our way back to pre-COVID levels. So very happy today to share some of the things that have worked for us. And yeah, just honored to be part of the first ever GlowCon. So thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on. So, okay, let's just start with a brief summary from each of you of when you opened and what it's been like so far. We'll start with Coby.
Yeah, so we opened pretty much exactly four weeks ago to the day. So it was a transition where we went from online. We did some outdoor stuff, a little bit of car park stuff behind me. And then from the 1st of July, maybe it was the 1st of June, maybe I can't remember. But it's just been absolutely sort of a huge exponential growth. We've had to transition very fast into just people just literally firing in the door and leads, which is very, at that rate. We sort of knew that there'd be a certain amount of people come back, but it just really came in strong. So it's been really positive. We've just seen, slight, so we've had no cases in our state, but there's been a big scare down south, and it's just creeping up over the border, which tomorrow they shut the borders, and they've just given us a bit of a warning just to keep it calm. But yeah, interesting times for us. So yeah, we've come in, it's all gone gangbusters, and we're running very smooth and sailing very well. As I just mentioned, we had our busiest day today ever, which is pretty cool for us.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's just been cool. All hands on deck. Yeah.
Cool. So we'll maybe come back to some of the challenges you faced, but just love to hear from you, Jack. Just your initial experiences of being back open.
Yeah, things have been very positive. Obviously, we're very happy to open the doors again. Maybe not quite as good as Coby. It sounds amazing there. So yeah, people have been definitely happy to come back, but some have had reservations. I can't say people have been firing through the door like they have been on the Gold Coast, but obviously really great to get the doors open again after 2 months. Feel very fortunate that it was only 2 months after seeing what's happening around the world. We had pretty much a standing start. So we had about 24 hours notice from the government that we could open up. So we couldn't do any hype. We couldn't do any midnight workouts like they've been doing in London. Unfortunately, that all looks pretty cool. So it was like, tomorrow you can open, boom, let's go. So that meant that we couldn't really prepare too much for it. And that meant a little bit of a slower start. We started with very small class numbers just to make sure that everyone would be comfortable. And we've slowly been building that up as people have got more comfortable, as we've had more conversations with our clients. We were very interestingly, personal training has been pretty much pre-COVID levels from day one, which is very interesting. I think we were 97% June this year compared to June last year. Group classes, definitely more of a challenge. I think people have a perception that it's a bit more of a dangerous environment, more chance of catching COVID. I assume that's one of the reasons. So that's been more of a process in building that up. First month was about 50% of last year. This month looks to be about 60 or 65% for group class. So we're just now in the process of building that back up. And we're actually having a shift towards semi-private PT as well, to maybe get some of those group class clients that don't feel comfortable to take on the semi-private PT. So we're in a good place. We're building up step by step, but we are aware that a few cases in Bangkok could reverse some of the progress that we have made in the last 2 months quite quickly.
Nice one. Before we go across the world, just a note to all the audience, there's a question box at the bottom, and we'll do questions towards the end of the session, but definitely start asking some questions as we go, and we'll keep an eye on them. Caroline's watching the box there. So around the world then to Midwest America, Brittany, tell us about your experience so far.
Yeah, we had to close. We closed our doors on March 19th, and we were closed for about 3.5 months. So that was a really scary. It was literally like a 24-hour, like we were open, limited capacity, and then closed. So that was a really, really scary time. I don't think anybody goes into running a fitness business thinking that they're just going to be shut down. We were coming off back-to-back record months for membership in January and February. So that was a really, really hard hit for us. We opened for outdoor classes. We were allowed to open for outdoor classes in early June. So we took advantage of that. We did outdoor classes for about 2.5 weeks, and then we were allowed to reopen at limited capacity on July 6th. So we did have an opportunity to get our members excited and get them back in. We've been running limited capacity. We have about 75% usage in our classes week over week so far. So it's been really good. We still have virtual classes every day too that our members take advantage of. So we're doing both because we do obviously have some people that are just not really ready to come back. Things in Illinois have been decent. Some of the states to the south of us are kind of creeping up to the southern side of Illinois. So that's a little bit nerve-wracking, but things have been holding steady here compared to other states. So membership has been, on and off. We went through COVID and did well. There was a lot of people that continued to pay but didn't really use the virtual service. And now that we're reopened and their memberships are coming up for renewal, they're like, I never used it and I don't want to keep doing it. So we're kind of like gaining and losing in the same amount through this month. So my hope is that we'll kind of slough off some of those in July and then really hit a stride in August. So yeah, but it's going well.
Good. Great to hear that. Okay, so we're going to start with a couple of the harder questions now. Coby, what unforeseen challenge did you face when you opened up, and how did you overcome it?
One of the biggest challenges, probably, it's been tricky. I don't want to say it, but there has hardly been any challenges for us at this. I feel bad saying it, but I suppose the hardest challenge was initially at the start when they shut us down, which was probably the same feeling that we all felt. And then I suppose it was excitement to adapt rather than a challenge, if you know what I mean. So it's more the excitement to adapt, to see what we could do to try and encapsulate and keep our audience engaged through the opening of it. to get them to come in and keep start showing up again. I suppose our environment was quite confident where we live, so we didn't have too much of a negative effect. It was quite a strong drive to jump back into the gyms with basic sort of safety measures.
And how is the gym experience different for where you are? Different from what when you walk through the door, or
say that again? Sorry, just lost it when someone came on.
Is the experience for your visitors now dramatically different than it was before?
Yeah, 100%. So it was a good time for us to really sharpen up what we do here. We just spent all that time. Obviously we could research and figure out exactly where we wanted to take the business. So we had good momentum in March before the shutdown. And then we sort of could have that time to prepare and get all our marketing ready. And as I spoke to Caroline, spend that time when we were shut down to really prepare to open up well. We just launched our 8-week challenge, which just started on Monday, which we planned during COVID. And it's been our biggest challenge yet, through just dropping the seed and being consistent with that marketing during COVID, not too intense, but really getting ready for it. And then we could line everything up, trying to do all those things that you sometimes struggle as a business owner to do. We had that time to prepare very well. So when we have to kickstart the challenge, we've done all the back end, all the marketing emails, in the right sequence, all the social media stories ready to go and stuff. So we didn't miss any areas. So it actually gave us a good head start to launch something, because we weren't having to do so much, training.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That sort of makes sense to you.
Yeah. So maybe Jack, what sort of unforeseen challenges did you come across?
Well, I think it's probably worth saying that the whole thing is an unforeseen challenge. When you're reopening, it's not something that we've ever had to do before. And, this is a 1 in 100 years pandemic. So everything is new, everything is different, and pretty much everything is a challenge. I think before you kind of look at the challenges, it's good to see what's kind of been easier than expected or kind of heartwarming. The biggest thing for me has been seeing the clients complying with all of our regulations, all of our measures. We have a concept whereby you stay in a zone or on a station for 5 minutes, and then during the 2-minute break, you clean up all of your equipment. And just seeing all of the clients cleaning up everything, it was really heartwarming, really good to see. Everyone's on board, everyone gets that it's a serious situation. I do think that some of our members have never cleaned anything in the knife because they don't quite know how to do it. In Thailand we have a lot of domestic help, so I can only assume that's the case, but really nice to see everyone trying nonetheless. In terms of challenges for us, one is we saw a big drop in our online training program when we reopened, and that's continued for the 2 months as expected, but I didn't quite foresee the drop in numbers that we have seen. For me, that is good news, because wait to come back, to be part of the community, to use the technology that we've developed, to connect with the coaches and everybody else. So I don't really see that as a bad thing, but it is a little bit unexpected, and we were looking to invest more into that platform. Now how have we overcome that? We've kept that platform, we've tweaked it, we've made it a little bit cheaper, we aren't putting out as much content on there, but we still have that platform so people can use it if they don't feel comfortable coming back, if they're away on holiday or they're away on business, and of course we can switch that back on if we need to at a later date, which I'm of course hoping doesn't happen. The other challenge we've had to overcome is just restructuring some of our offerings. It's a unique opportunity now to do some of those things that you've wanted to do in your business, but you weren't quite sure what the right time to do it was. And so the example I gave before of introducing semi-private PT, we actually had to cancel a few of our classes that were a bit more specialized. So whilst that was a great thing for the business, and I felt very good doing it for the longer term, sustainability of the company, it has been met with some resistance from some clients. So, it's difficult conversations, maybe refunding some money we've had to do in a few cases. But, we know we're doing it for the right reasons. We know it's best for the business, but that's just been something that we've had to kind of deal with. But, as long as you're doing the right thing for your company, your concepts and the staff members, then that kind of makes it all a little bit easier.
Yeah, and I know we spoke way back when things had just hit, and I think you were really doing a lot of online and going down that road. Like, what did you learn about online, say, since then, in the last two months or so?
In the last 2 months, well, I've learned that people would rather come into the gym, which is a good thing. I think if people have stayed at home just using your online services, then perhaps there's something that's lacking in your in-person experience that maybe, they feel they can just get that at home. What have we learned? I think it's very important to have it. I think, something that we talked about for a long time doing at Base. The online one-to-one coaching component we turned on pretty much overnight, and that has continued for some members who still don't feel comfortable coming back. So I think I've learned that whilst it isn't going to take off in the way that some people thought, I believe long term, it's still a very important thing to have, and it should, it's a key part of your offering, and it does of course offer that extra revenue stream when clients can't come in. And we still have 10 to 20% of people that don't feel comfortable. It's around about that number. So of course, giving them extra options to train at home is obviously huge for them. It's important for them, and it helps us to bring a bit more money into the company as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great insight. So Brittany, what was your biggest unforeseen challenge?
I think it was more for us, it was just adjusting our staff. Like they, as business owners and entrepreneurs, we're versatile. Like even though this is crazy, like we're prepared for the crap that we go through. Like this is just something that we always know comes with entrepreneurship. But when you have staff who that's not their mindset, or they're young, or, this is all new to them, it's a challenge to get them even more bought into you as a leader. I think that was one thing that we really wanted to make sure of with our staffing, was that they believed in us as leaders. They believed we were going to take care of them. They believed that we were going to take care of our members, and we were going to lead them through this. So I think that there was business challenges. Yeah, we kept our members through COVID. Our net new was 0. So like we didn't lose anybody through COVID with our virtual and then in studio. So I think the biggest challenge was really staffing and just making sure that they were trained and that they felt like we were giving them the best information possible, that they were being led through this thing, that they had all the tools that they needed to go virtual. Many of them haven't ever taught a virtual class, or they have never worked from home virtually, or made a membership sale over Zoom, or made a membership sale over a phone call. Like that's all new stuff for them. And to have to grow and develop your staff from at home and them at home is a whole new challenge in itself. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges that we faced. But having a really solid team and always being in communication with them and being very vulnerable with them was something that we found a lot of success in, was just really having that open communication, always making sure that they understood that if they had questions or were feeling concerned or weren't sure about something, that they could always come to us and we would make sure that they were taken care of. So I would say that by far was one of the biggest challenges that we faced.
Yeah, that's a good one. And how much has your team, say from a sales perspective, like how much of that now would be over the phone versus where it might have been in person before? How has that balance changed?
So we have a area that we can do sales at, and as long as the table's pretty big. So we've been doing in-person membership sales, but during COVID, when we were selling our virtual, my studio manager was doing it all over Zoom. Like everything was over Zoom, and doing like demos of our platform and how they sign on virtually and what we offer with our virtual platform. So I feel like when your staff learns how to sell over the phone and over Zoom, they should have no problem selling in-person memberships, because it's hard to sell to somebody over a computer screen. So now we're still selling in person. We have new members coming in. We don't mind having a conversation with them. We require masks to come in our studio and to exit our studio. So I feel like they feel comfortable doing that in person right now.
So you're finding that if somebody is somewhat interested, they're willing to come down for a visit.
Absolutely, 100%. I feel like, for as many people as there are in the world that don't want to come into your gym, there are the same amount of people who want to come into your gym. It's a matter of how you're marketing, how you're presenting your message, what are you putting out on social media? Are you asking for referrals from your members who are coming in? Because typically the people that are coming in are surrounded by other people who are going out to eat, and they're going shopping, and they're doing things, and they're traveling. So I feel like you have, as gym owners and business owners alike, we have to look at this as a glass half full scenario and not a glass half empty. We have to really go after the people who do want to come into our gyms. Our virtual hasn't really dropped off. We're still averaging about 25 to 30 people daily on our virtual classes. We only run one a day. So that has gone really, really stayed really steady for us. And now we've just added it as a hybrid into our membership. So yeah, I think that you have to just figure out a way to be versatile with your marketing and go for the people that, because there are people out there that want to come into your gym, and 35% of fitness studios have closed since COVID happened. Like, and that's more clients for us. That's better trainers. That's better front desk people. There's just so much opportunity out there. You just have to go out there and find it, I think.
Yeah, that's great insight. So back to Coby, you spoke about your fitness challenge that you run, that you ran, or that you put together, and it's gone really well. Do you want to talk in a little bit more detail about that? Because I'm sure there's loads of people on the line here who are trying to come up with some sort of offer or something to kickstart the business. So just tell us in a little bit more detail what you did.
Yeah, nice. So I suppose with a challenge, it's nothing new to us. In my mind, I was like, oh, another challenge, do I have to, as coaches, we don't get super excited over challenges when we've probably ran, a few over our careers. So it was really exciting myself to be like, people are ready and they want them. And it wasn't until one of my staff members said, come on, do a challenge, Coby. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So we started to drop the seed. And then we just went hard in all areas. What was the question again?
What went well about it, or just like, how did you promote it? What little secret have you got?
I suppose that the foundation of like the marketing, like making sure we never stopped emailing our mailing list during the time, and we still haven't. So all the things, we actually picked up our marketing during COVID because we had more time, and we've maintained that now. So for example, to promote the challenge, every Thursday we ran a 20-minute coaches chat where we spoke on a topic, which could be anything fitness, a lot of it around nutrition, but then we would always lead it back to, all right, we've got an 8-week challenge starting soon. So we'd engage people with some catchy topics, 20-minute coaches chat, spread it out, do it live on Facebook. Because people, I found, were more engaged to tune in on lives after COVID. That's a big one. Whereas I think going back to using Facebook Live is very, very effective for marketing, giving some free content and then chucking your stuff in at the end. Then a couple of big things we did is just spotlighted some people that have done really well during COVID, and then use them as our marketing. And then how we integrated, had it all, make sure we had it set up so it was all ready to go on the app. So on the Glofox store, jump in, purchase, bang, bang, bang. So it was done. So that made it very smooth for the customer to go and purchase, whether we'd spoken to them or not, because there's still a percentage of people that will just buy now with the 8-week challenge. And we tend to capture more of that market than we normally would. So we had a few more buy nows that we've never met. We'd still get them in and process them to make sure they were the right people for us. But yeah, just doing the marketing, doing the emails, the social, the free content, and then adding your offer, at the end of each one. Not forcing it, just adding lots of good value, being honest, and then having that system. Hey, jump on the app, download it. You're set to go. Just kept ticking along very nicely. And also for the current members, it was an easy opt-in for them because they were a lot better at using the app after having the community section on the software. That made it better too, like our sales. Look at all our supplements here. People are just buying a lot more stock from the app. So to select the 8-week challenge was much easier as well. So yeah, just all those little things put together make it successful, if that helps.
It sounds like people were in the market for something, and a lot of this is just putting it on the shelf. So there's something that enables them to get back in business.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, and simple, just a normal 8-week challenge, nutrition, nothing crazy about it. All the normal wording, nothing, we didn't call it anything different. We just called it an 8-week challenge, and it's that simple stuff that's just working,
Cool. Okay. So just a note to the audience, keep those questions coming in. They're stacking up here, which is great. So keep them coming in. I'll go and get to them in a few minutes. I think Brittany's offered to a consultation offline, or a one-to-one consultation for, I'll give that the best question. So keep the questions coming. We'll get there in a few minutes. So back on the topic, maybe we'll move to Jack. And one thing I'm really interested in is preparing your staff for opening up. What is it you have to do to make that work?
Yeah, I think you have to really first have them understand just how important this is. So whether that's the coaches, whether that's the front desk staff, of course, the cleaning staff as well, just have them acknowledge, recognize, and understand that this is pretty important. The clients do really care about this, and we've just got to be absolutely on point. Base is a studio that's leading the industry here in Bangkok and one of the leading studios in Asia. So we knew that kind of all eyes would be on us, and that we had to do things right. We had to do things well. So just kind of relaying that message to the team, inspiring them, getting them on board, and just having them understand that, okay, this is an important situation that we must deal with right as an industry leading studio. Then it's basically lots of training. So we had our SOPs, our standard operating procedures for everything cleanliness related, and just training, hammering that with the staff, making sure that they understand exactly what they need to do, just how important it is, all of the processes, going through training with each of the staff individually, and just making sure that the cleaning staff are on board with that as well. As I mentioned, we did have pretty much a standing start. So we only had 24 hours notice. So that first day we actually closed. We did not open straight away, even though we were itching to get started. We opened the next day, and we just had a full day of training with everyone, just to make sure that everyone was on board. And then, of course, management was there first day, or first few days there pretty much all day, just making sure things were done as they should have been. We, especially in the first week, just making sure the standards were good, making sure that people felt comfortable was just so incredibly important. That first week, the way that we framed it to staff was that first session when people come back is just incredibly important. They've been at home for 2, 3, 4 months, maybe 6 months by the time some studios have opened. They were nervous, they were worried, they were quite clearly a bit scared. It created a little bit of a sketchy atmosphere those first few days. But if they came in and they could see that Base and everyone at Base was taking it seriously, we knew we could win them over. Then they would be telling their friends, they would be posting on social media about how clean Base is and how good our standards were. And that kind of helped us to get back on track. And then we did some interviews with our members, just asked them a couple of questions. 2 questions. How does it feel to be back at Base? It's great. Love being back here. Love being back in the studio. Good to see the coaches. How are the cleanliness measures that we have in place? Super happy with everything they're doing. I feel so safe. I was nervous about coming back, but now I feel great. And then we would just put those out over social media over the first few weeks. So I think that really helped us to win kind of the hearts and minds of our clients, to let them know that Base was a safe place to come to, and they should get back in as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think it really underlines that there's ever a time to have the owner, the manager, really with their eyes open and there in the premise while you're opening up. And that first experience of coming back, people are watching to see how well you're actually set up, and that can leave a long impression on people. So
yeah, well, another good thing about that as well is you can have those really important conversations with clients. Hey, how are you feeling? How's your training been? And if they see the fitness manager in there, or if they see the founder in there, seeing how things are going and having chats with clients, they feel good about that. But then also you get this incredible feedback, which is hard to get day to day. As the owner, you're often drawn out of the studio after a certain amount of time, and you're kind of more in the office and whatnot. So to be back in there and getting that first-hand feedback really is invaluable, especially at this time.
Yeah, got it. Brittany, what thoughts have you got on that front of training staff and getting them ready to open up?
Yeah, we had about a week's notice, so a little bit more than Jack had. He didn't have as much time. We had about a week. So we had an all-staff meeting at our studio, and I have all women staff, and the girls are really, really good about cleaning anyways. Like even before this, they were always really diligent about cleaning because we really hammered it home, because having an all-female fitness studio is like, we wanted to make sure cleanliness was like top priority for us always. So coming back, it was like they took it times 10x. I mean, those girls, they already knew what they needed to do. We just made sure that they had the supplies to do it. We put 30 minutes in between our classes. We let them know all the things that needed to be wiped down. We created some protocols around handing wipes out to members and making sure they were wiping everything down. And then after classes, we're re-wiping everything down. So I think just making sure that we're diligent, same thing like Jack said, just making sure everybody's really diligent about what you're doing and taking it very seriously, and making sure that you're taking the time, like letting your staff know you need to take your time to do this and giving them that time, right? A lot of times, I think we find that with coaches, because our coaches do the cleaning in the studio, is compensation. You always want to make sure that if you're asking them to go above and beyond things, like you're giving them something for that. I know a lot of people just pay their trainer rate and then don't pay them anything else. We pay them additional time to clean because we know that does take additional time on top of their classes. And now it's taking 45 minutes, an hour or half hour, 45 minutes just to get everything cleaned, especially like after your shift is over between like midday, they're taking an extra hour to clean. So just making sure that you're giving them the protocols to follow, but you're also giving them something in return to let them know, because that will just ensure them that, okay, my owner's taking this seriously. They're going to make sure that I'm taking care of for this. So I really want to make sure I do my best work as well, because I want to keep everybody safe too. So I think it's a twofold thing. Obviously you want to train them, but you also want to make sure that if you are asking them to go and be above and beyond the normal call of duty per se, that you're making sure you're taking care of your staff for that.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And Coby, I'm just going to pick a couple of questions here, but while I'm doing that, what did you learn about your staff and getting them into line, and what challenges did you face?
Yeah, I think just really keeping everyone together, keeping community amongst just our staff. We're good at doing that with our clients. So we were in touch every day when we had to, transition. Much like Jack, we were given, 12 to 24 hours notice. We always sort of try and keep everyone always connecting. So when we do need to change, they are already tight and can jump. So knowing that there were changes coming, I kept my effort up and still do as always. But just make sure I was continually giving to them. So when I needed them to jump, they were ready. They didn't have any sort of, they didn't stutter at all. They were just ready to, okay, cool, what do you need me to do? Lots of out of hours work, lots of unpaid work for that, the odd times. And now the fruit has sort of changed for them a bit, which has been good. But yeah, just I think never back off on any of that client care for your staff. So when you do want them to jump, they're ready,
Yeah.
Very important.
That's really useful. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the questions here, and about half of the questions are about how you price online and offline memberships. So obviously this is a big topic. So who wants to jump on that one?
I can. So when we were doing just virtual, obviously during COVID and when we were shut down, we had reached out to members and asked, if they were able to continue to pay their memberships during that time. We would do everything in our power to make sure that they were taken care of. We did a lot of free challenges, a lot of free stuff with them, a lot of free giveaways with them during that time. But we priced our virtual anywhere from $59 to $99 during COVID. So when we were getting virtual members in, it was between $59 and $99, and we felt that was a good point because we're integrating them into our community. In our Facebook group, we were allowing them to do our challenges. So they were getting a lot of added value. It wasn't just a platform they were going on to follow workout. They were really becoming part of our community. So that was one of the reasons we priced it that way. Now that we're post-COVID, all of our members get the virtual as part of their membership. That's just kind of a hybrid in their membership now. Yeah. But we still have it at $99 if somebody new wants to come into virtual, or if maybe let's just say one of our members wants to convert just to virtual, then it's $99. That's our price. That's what it is. Because again, they're still able to do any challenges that we have. If we do any like Zoom cook-along classes, which we did a lot of, in our Facebook group, all that stuff, they're integrated in all of that stuff. So we feel that the value, as long as you're building value, you're stacking value in your virtual and you're giving them more than you're taking from them, they will pay a higher premium price for it. So some of the studios that I work with at Loud Rumor are charging $200 a month for their virtuals because they're doing so much extra stuff. So again, if you're value stacking your program and you're adding that value to your program, you can charge whatever you feel is what you're giving value, you know? So I think I've seen it all, but we charge $99.
Okay. And so 2 questions, and maybe I didn't get fully understand, but for in-person and online, is that the one membership?
Yeah, yep. So anybody, like, let's just say they were already an in-studio member pre-COVID, right? And they're still an in-studio member now. Now it's just like part of their package. Like they get both. They can do hybrid. So they can do virtual, they can do in-studio, they can do both. It doesn't matter. So if they're traveling, they can use the virtual to do, you know, their workouts wherever they're at. So it's kind of integrated in their membership now. And then anybody who signs up for an in-studio membership now automatically gets that virtual platform as well.
Got it. Okay. And just to explain to people around what you mean by adding more value, because what would be some examples of adding more value?
So when you think about adding value to your memberships, you want to think about things that aren't costing you more money or tons of extra time. So some of the things that we have done would be, let's just say we did cook along with a coach during COVID. So we would, one of our coaches would get on Zoom and she would pick a recipe and she would share it with everybody and you could cook along with her on Zoom, right? We did a macro shred challenge where we had an accountability group on Slack and they did it for free and they all had to purchase Avatar Nutrition and we helped them understand how to count macros. And we did that for 2 months straight for free I did their accountability on Slack. And I had one of my coaches in there too. We were just answering questions, but they were engaging with themselves on the group. All the girls were engaging with themselves. So you just want to add value in things that are not going to cost you extra money, or maybe you give 20-minute, you know, or these check-ins once a month. You can check in with a coach maybe once a month or whatever. You want to think about things that aren't costing you your business more time and you essentially, or more money, and then you essentially more time. So those are the kinds of things you want to think about, not necessarily like adding tangible items in, but things that make it feel like you're getting more for less.
Got it. Okay. And so basically, I think the eye opener there is there's more you can offer than just a workout session or an online workout session.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, you just got to get creative.
Get creative, mentoring and group sessions and everything. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now, the second half of all of these questions is around the fear of closing down again. And the questions seem to break into 2 categories. One is, how do you talk to members about selling them a membership if they're afraid you're going to close down again? And then secondly, how do you think about yourself and your own business, and how do you mitigate the risk of closing down? So maybe with Jack, you know, have you had to have any difficult conversations where you're selling a membership, but what if we're closed in 2 months' time? How does that conversation go?
Yeah, we haven't had many refund requests, and when we did have those during lockdown, we just fought as hard as we could to stop the refund. So just offered online sessions, extending out packages, extending out the expiry, basically doing whatever we needed to do to keep that member. And that was largely successful. So that was good news. Obviously, you don't want to lose money during a difficult time when you're not really bringing all that much in. In terms of conversations with clients now, yes, absolutely. We have seen that. People are quite wary to buy the bigger packages. So for us, that would be 12 months, 6 months, 100 sessions. So people are buying smaller packages. One way that we've kind of got around that is just to be very flexible. So we let clients know that if there is any lockdown, we're absolutely happy to extend. You're not going to lose your sessions. We were very flexible when we reopened, maybe a little bit too generous, actually. We gave clients like an extra 2 months beyond the closing time, just to say like, hey, you can come back whenever you want. Make sure that you're 100% comfortable. More generous than most studios. But I think that was actually good because a lot of members said they liked the fact that they didn't have to email in. They liked the fact that we respected that we weren't, their safety and their health. We weren't going to rush them back into the studio. And so I think that worked well for us and kind of gave our members a level of trust in how we're going to deal with these things. So ultimately, if they are concerned about that, they might buy the smaller packages, and we have seen that. But if they know and believe that you're going to look after them, you're going to extend the packages, you're going to do whatever you can to make sure the package works for them, I think you do have a chance to sell those larger packages. And they will, of course, look at how you dealt with the first closure. And if that was dealt well, then you should be fine for future closures as well.
Yeah, that's excellent. And then Coby, this is probably our last question now, and the time has just flown. It's been too fast. But when you think about the future, Coby, how do you Victoria closed down there a couple of weeks ago. How do you think about how you protect your business from future closures?
100%. I'll show you guys something soon. But yeah, I think you've really got to, when people are coming back to you, really have that. Like the way we're signing up people is no matter what happens, if we end up having to shut down or transition, nothing changes. Our service still stays where it is. So we give clients that trust that, hey, look, things might turn around, they might go this way, that's out of our control, but we won't give up on you. We will jump straight back into if we have to go outside, online, car park, back to doing what we ever have to do, and just give clients confidence that if they do need to stop, or if they get in financial strife and the situation turns, that you've got their back. They have no trust and no worries in signing back on. And then yes, we are putting in plans for a second shutdown, because I think as a business owner you should. And we've just implemented, I don't know if you want to see it, it's a face tracker which scans your heat and can give you like a hot cold test, but it also is a tracker. Because we need to know if someone does come in here with an infection, that we can track everyone in the area, because I think that's definitely, I think we need to be set up for the future too with some equipment like this, because there may be other strains, or who knows. I'm not overly invested into it, but I think we should always cover our back and know that something like this may come again, and if we're prepared with certain softwares, it gives people a lot of trust. So we've just implemented this face scanning thing, and it's given people a lot of trust and a lot of confidence, and also a little bit of excitement when they come in, because they get a scan over their face that measures what temperature they are. I don't know if you guys want to see it, but it's kind of cool.
We're almost out of time. Is it there?
Right. Oh yeah, I can show you right here. Yeah. It's just this little thing here. So when you come in, it's once it gets my headshot forward, see it says authenticated 37 degrees, but that actually tracks to the first time they can put their details in there, and it tracks them in and out of the gym. So it gives them a lot of safety to know if there was a case, they can easily be tracked. And I feel that that'll be the software that does become part of the gym normally around the world eventually. In terms of just just like we have, like the Glofox app also works in that way, but that just does the health check on the way in. I think that needs to be compulsory amongst all gyms, because as before COVID, we never liked people coming in with the flu, did we? Because if the coaches get sick, then business just goes, lots of fun for the owners. But I think you need backup plans and just start to picture out, all right, if something was to happen, what are we going to do? Especially as the business owners, you don't have to have it like written down or anything, but you just got to process it. So, if you have to jump, where you are going to go to with everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I don't know if everyone can hear me because my internet is coming and going a bit, but I'm going to stay on time or I'm going to get in trouble. So I got some really good questions. So please keep the questions coming. For the prize, there's no fair way to do it, so I'm going to give it to the first question, which is from Holly Kellam. So we'll hook you up with Brittany there for that consultation. I want to say a massive thanks to Brittany and Coby and Jack for coming on. You guys are so helpful and really appreciate your time. We'll share your details and your social media with everyone who's attended today. But for now, stay safe. The best of luck with your businesses, and we'll talk again very, very soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.